we need to talk about the offense because it's terrible. It's arguably the worst offense in the league right now in terms of points. There's a couple that are worse, but it shouldn't be this bad. There's way too much talent. And I think it's time to start talking about how the Niners are using specific players because on defense, they got it. They know exactly what they're doing with defense. But on offense, it seems like it takes them until week 10 to figure out how to use their talent. So I want to go player by player. Not Debo. They know how to use Debo. But I want to talk about the other guys because clearly this offense isn't working yet and something has to change. So my question to you, hold on. We have some questions. We're going to answer them in a minute. But my question to Jesse and the people watching is, are the 49ers misusing Brandon Aiyuk?
This one's tough for me because Brandon Aiyuk's a really good player. And I feel like he does deserve the ball more. But I don't know if they're necessarily misusing him, right? Like Brandon Aiyuk is a full-on receiver. He's a really good route runner. He knows how to get open. He can get open downfield. He can get open in the intermediate. He's just a good football player, good catch radius. But the quarterback can't get him the ball. The quarterback constantly overlooks Brandon Aiyuk downfield. So to me, I don't think they're necessarily misusing him. I feel like he's getting open quite a bit, but he's not getting the ball because the trigger man can't make him be involved in the offense. So I'm going to say on this one, I don't believe that Brandon Aiyuk's issue is a misuse issue. I think it's a quarterback skill set issue.
That's fair. I still think he's being misused. And maybe it is Jimmy's limitations. But right now, like all he does is run slants and screens. That's not Aiyuk. That's Debo. That's the way you use Debo. And if you're going to use Aiyuk the way you use Debo, he's not going to be as good as Debo. Aiyuk is a wide receiver. And he is good down the field and outside the numbers. I mean, he's really good. And I just don't want to hear Kyle be like, well, our quarterback's Jimmy, we can't do him. You knew Jimmy's limitations. You signed Jimmy. You traded up for Brandon Aiyuk. Make it work. You can't just call slants for him and run him over the middle. I would like to see Kyle line up Danny Gray, Brandon Aiyuk, and Debo in a bunch. And I'd like to see a flood concept where Danny Gray runs deep, Aiyuk runs the sail route, intermediate, and Debo's in the flat. Can we see that one time? I would like to see Aiyuk in the slot. And if I know it's hard to get him the ball outside the numbers when he's out there because Jimmy, right? But if you put him in the slot and run him on corners and out routes, there's more space and more time for a noodle arm Magoo like Jimmy Garoppolo to give him the ball. I think it's a cop-out on Kyle's part to be like, hey, well, Jimmy's my quarterback, so I can only call slants and screens. No. Mike McDaniel went to Miami and had Tua throwing the ball all over the field, man. You got to get Jimmy to throw more than slants and screens. You got to. So I think they're misusing Aiyuk.
Here's the problem, and I almost think it's an argument as to why they're using him properly. Because if he doesn't do those, I don't know if Brandon Aiyuk gets a single catch in a game. Anytime he's running a deep dig, he doesn't get the ball from Jimmy.
That's ridiculous.
There was a route. Okay, I'll give you an example. So a lot of people talk about the drops. And if Jennings didn't have a drop and Kittle had made the catch in the back of the end zone, imagine how good Jimmy's day would have been. Well, on that same play, on third down, when Jimmy threw short of the sticks and Jennings dropped the ball, guess who was wide open on an out route on the same side of the field, right above where Jennings was, that may have taken off, probably not a touchdown, but it would have been a good 40-yard gain. Guess who was right there, wide open? Brandon Aiyuk.
That's true. But again, like we don't know like how often Brandon Aiyuk is the primary target in the we don't know. And we don't know like when Jimmy's passing him up when he's the number one target. What I would say is it seems to me like Jimmy is pretty much a robot on the field. Whatever Kyle tells him to do, he does. And if it doesn't work out, he's like, well, you told me to do it. So Kyle, if you have a human joystick at quarterback, you need to start dialing up more plays for Brandon Aiyuk. And if Jimmy won't deliver the ball, then find someone who will, because you're wasting a really good player. He's so much better than the 3 catches for 40 yards that he gives you every game. It's a shame that that's all you can get out of Brandon Aiyuk. This offense is terrible, and you have this stud at wide receiver, and you're like, man, how do we score points? I can't figure out. Bobby Turner, you got some ideas? We're stuck at 16 a game. Oh, yeah, maybe we get the ball to our really good wide receiver where he wins. Nah, we can't do that. We got to, we got this quarterback, we got this scheme. So then trade him. If he doesn't fit your offense and your scheme and your quarterback, then trade him for someone who freaking does, because my heart breaks for Brandon Aiyuk. What sucked was on that play where Kittle didn't get his second foot in bounds. Aiyuk was so freaking open. He was wide open, and Jimmy's like, nah. Let me throw this ball in the double coverage to Kittle. And it was a nice throw, but
it was a good throw. Let's be clear about that. That was a really, really good throw. But was it the right decision? I don't know. That I can't.
Can you imagine what Aiyuk's numbers would be if he were on the Packers?
Oh, if he had Aaron Rodgers, he would be.
Can you imagine?
10 catch. If he was with Matthew Stafford. Take Kupp out of that offense and put in Aiyuk. I bet you can get 9 grabs a game. Aiyuk's good. He's really good.
Really good.
The thing about Aiyuk, though, is I do think his skill set matches up with who is supposed to be the quarterback of this team, who's not here. He's not healthy.
Yeah.
And so don't feel too bad for Brandon Aiyuk yet, because next year is technically the contract year. And if Trey Lance can stay healthy, he still might get paid a lot of money.
You got to remember that they traded up for Aiyuk the year before Trey.
That's fair. No, that's totally fair.
No, I'm not correcting you. I'm just saying I think Kyle misevaluated Aiyuk. He saw Aiyuk as another one of the Yak Bros. He's not. He's not a particularly good. He's not great after the catch. He's great before the catch. He's great at the catch. And you're running him on slants and screens? Come on, man. Give Jimmy a chance. Because you gotta. You freaking gotta. And I'm telling you, if you just keep doing the same stuff, you're going to keep scoring 16 points a game. This is a real opportunity to get more points and yards. Aiyuk is underused. I don't know if he's misused, but he's freaking underused, and you got to figure out a way to get him more. If it's Jimmy's fault, if there's limitations, I don't know, Kyle, you're a genius, so you can find a way to get the ball in his hands more often.
I think Brandon Aiyuk is good after the catch, but only in certain situations. Not out on the perimeter.
He's not bad, but he's
good if he gets it running across the middle of the field, a dig route, and he can catch it and keep moving. That's when he's really good. But if he's got to stop in the middle of a route, make a grab, and then make a move, that's not where he's at his best.
The way I've always seen him is he's a technician, like Amari Cooper or Devontae Adams. Like he's not, an athlete. He's a good athlete, but he has skills. He's a master of his craft, and they can't get on the ball. It's too bad.
He has a great catch radius too. Like I did mention that, but it's incredible.